All right, now that you've written a query, let's talk about visualizations. We'll talk about how to create different visuals, working with different visualization types, formatting results and legends, and colors and all of that fun stuff as well on top of your visualizations. And yes, your table is also visualization. As always, let's start with our documentation. You can go to the web app and create graphs here. And this will nicely talk about all of the different things that you should know about how to work with charts on Dune. All right, so first you have to run your query. Once you've run your query, you'll get these query results as your default visualization. It's sometimes called a widget as well, right? And here I'm just querying for dex volume. You'll see it's all looks very raw. There's the day, there's the project, there's the amount USD. I'm not using this one in a dashboard, so it's not nicely formatted, but let's walk through how I might format it. All right, so this is just the table name up here. I normally just remove it. And in this case, time technically is week. It's not time. So I can reformat it to split week. And the date, there's not much you can do there. The project, I might put the dex here. Again, it's text, not much I can do. However, amount USD, I could say this is volume USD, and I could format this in many ways, right? So I could format this definitely with a dollar sign, and you'll see if I just put a dollar, it adds it on both sides, which isn't helpful. So what I'm going to want to do is I could do a 0A, right? So this is saying it's a number, I want a dollar sign before it, and I want you to round to the nearest thousandth, millionth, or billionth, or trillionth, and show it here. That's just what A refers to. I could include maybe a few decimals if I wanted. So now it's a little more accurate and easy to read, 4.65 million or 808.9 million. There's also ways where I might want to show with a comma instead. I can just say, hey, I want the whole value just shown here with a comma. It really depends on what you think is most readable to people. I can color if I want. I can hide the column. In this case, sometimes you might want to query with a lot of different columns just in the same query and only show certain combinations of columns in the tables. That makes it easy for you to do that. And there's a progress bar option if you wanted to show like the largest value versus the smallest. This is not a percentage thing. It's literally just scaling basically 0 to 1, smallest to largest, right? This same kind of formatting applies to all of our visualizations. You can create a new visualization just by clicking here. So I'm going to go to one I've already created and talk through some of the things I wanted. Right. So in this case, I wanted these legend items. I want volume by week, by project. I want the legend to look nice with this 0.0A dollar sign. I want this legend axis to say USD and this to be months or technically weeks. And I want to be able to show the legend. And I also want these projects to have these specific colors. All right. So it's a lot of stuff. Let me just create a new bar chart and you'll see it shows up like this. I need to select an X and Y axis. So I'll select time and then amount USD. And then there's a group by. This group by is essentially how you handle multiple legend items that share Y axis per se. Right. So I want to say, hey, group, no, I don't want to group by amount USD. You'll see it's very easy to click around. And it's going to show me this. I'm like, oh, okay. This is kind of hard to read. I could show these separately if I wanted them to be side by side. In my case, I actually want to stack them to show a total value. And I actually do want to see the total. So I'm going to click this so I can see total in the tooltip, which is the hover. And it's still not super easy to read. So let me change this title to be USD volume. People don't know what that side tick is. So for the tick, I'm going to do 0A, but I want people to read it a little deeper in hovering. So when I hover, I'll see the 9.68 million. But on the side, it just shows as the billion value instead, right? Might as well make this easy for people, add a USD there. You'll also see there were some colors. These colors are default assigned. There's just some default colors that are assigned based on how many legend items you have. And yes, they do repeat. There's not an infinite number of colors. And now let's say that I wanted, for example, to have radium to be this color hex. All I have to do is go down here, look for radium, and just paste that in there, and that'll override the default. And I can also change this to be a capital R, et cetera, et cetera. If I want to show radium at the top, I can also just, it's a little unintuitive, but it's actually me moving it to the bottom here. That will move radium to the top of the chart here. So there's a lot of different visualizations. Again, the formatting works the same. There's also normalized to percentage on bar charts, which is nice if you want to show a market share map instead. There are some combinations you can do in terms of like, I can go here and I can change any of these to be a line chart instead, or even could have this be a scatter. Obviously, that messes with things like stacking. You should almost always, I prefer to create as bar chart and then add and change these other items because I like to have stacking. You can hide the legend if you want. There's a lot of ways of customizing it. Definitely go play with the different visualizations. Go and see, you know, what are the ways of creating and managing these different kinds of charts. And once you've created your chart, then you can go onto any dashboard and add it as a widget to nicely present them. If you want to delete a visualization, you can just click remove here. Or oftentimes you might want to add a description to your visualization. That's actually handled by the settings here. So I might say volume since, and I can actually use parameters. So I can use since start date. And that'll actually just pull it into the visualization. And that's how you can add a description there. So those are your basics on visualizations.